Today on the channel, we'll be unboxing the heroic human battering ram here on Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Newman, and today we'll be unboxing Ramman from Mattel's Masters of the Universe cartoon collection line. This 1/12 scale figure measures 5.5 inches in height, is made of plastic, sports up to 16 points of articulation, is contained in retro-style packaging, and comes with a Shakoti idol and a mini-comic. Now before we start this unboxing, I would just like to ask that you like the video if you do indeed like it, and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm out so I can continue to spread my bad dad jokes throughout the multiverse of YouTube, even long after my death. Now, I originally bought this figure as a pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store. However, I kind of wanted to save a few bucks, so I switched to Amazon. Yeah, I know I should be supporting Big Bad Toy Store because they're the premier toy company out there, and Amazon is your big faceless corporation headed by Lex Luthor, but hey, I want to save a few bucks, so sue me. So here we go. Here is the package in hand, and quite a package it is. We got Ramman on here. We've got the new logo for He-Man and Masters of the Universe with the 40th She-Ra logo. Very nice. Very good. On the back, we've got his one accessory on display, as well as the other figures in this wave. It also showcases the pseudo action feature and some great artwork. It's beauteous. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get this thing opened up. Alright, so I'm going to try and gingerly open this as much as humanly possible, or in other words, I'm ripping this open. Alright, so here we go. Here is Mr. Ramman. Looks like we've got some twisty ties on here. I should get out my X-Acto knife, but I'm just going to wing it. Just going to pull them right out and... Whatever. It's detachable. I can put it back on. See? I put it back on. And here we go, Mr. Ramman, real name Crass. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Alright, this looks really good. I really like this. It looks very Filmation accurate. It looks as though they've used the same silver pearl plastic for his armor that they used for She-Ra's sword and shield, which, if you look at that review, I had some issues with. I thought it looked a little too cheap, but I think I may have done a 180 on it. I think it fits. Let's go over the articulation. So head can go left. Oh, no, wait. It can go all the way around. Yeah, look at that. All right, perfect. Arms go up to about yay high, standard for your cartoon collection. There are single joints at the elbows, which are very tight. The left one is tight as well. We've got articulation in the wrist, in the waist as well. Legs go out to about there. There's articulation in the ankles, which is super tight. It almost feels like a ratchet joint, it's so tight. The knees are single jointed, and I'm going to be honest, these are not great. Let me see if I can get a little leverage on here. Man, these are... Woo! I guess they're good, because they're super duper tight. But you can't get a lot of range of movement. They look like they could get a lot of range of movement, but they don't really. And I don't want to break it. So all in all, I think the articulation is fine. The longer I process it, the more I'm okay with the knees not being great if it affords this character some good stability. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So let's take a look at what he comes with. We've got the instructions for all of his modular pieces, which you can detach and reattach to your other cartoon collection and origin figures. And we've got the mini-comic that also comes with the She-Ra and the Mantenna figures. So yeah, there you go. I guess you could pause this and read the comic book if you wanted to, but no. This ain't Napster, no freebies. Here is the artifact that he comes with, what is it, Shakoti? Shakoti? Regardless of its pronunciation, it's another artifact, and I've gone on record many times, I'm not a big fan of these figures getting artifacts instead of actual weapons. It's well sculpted, it's in a gold close to yellow pearl plastic. Let me get my Ramman figure in here. Yeah, so let me get this thing in his big old meaty mitts. I really like these hands, by the way. I'm glad that he doesn't have like really defined knuckles. That this guy, you know, he likes his donuts, so he's got some meaty mitts, much like mine. So there you go. It does fit in his hand very well. Let's see if we can get it in both hands. I'm just gonna put it right in between his big old meaty mitts, and yeah, there you go. So yeah, yeah, I'm not a big fan of these artifacts. I would prefer some weapons. See, the great thing about the cartoon collection is that it's for collectors that missed out on the Super 7 Filmation figures. However, this puts first-time collectors at a severe disadvantage because they're not going to have a big old box or plastic bag full of random weapons that other characters aren't using. Ooh, look at this. I don't know. This gives me the ick. That big hollowed out head, for some reason, it's a real turnoff. And here is the see, it's the same pearl plastic that I use for She-Ra's sword. I think if it was a matte, it would be perfect because the color is a lot closer to the Filmation than He-Man's and Prince Adam's sword from the cartoon collection. But it's just the fact that it's shiny that it looks cheap. But if it were to be a matte, it would be more expensive. I got really off track. I'm sorry. I don't like the artifact. I'd rather have an axe. Get it together, Mattel. But let's go ahead and do some comparisons with a figure that does have a couple of axes. Here is the Origins Ramman. These two figures look very similar. There's no clawful or Mantenna situation here. They look like the same figure, just one's a little more detailed. So, yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. They look really similar to each other. Let's go ahead and swap it out for a Masterverse Ramman. Now, again, it looks pretty similar. There's no mistaking that these two figures are the same character. They look very similar, just the Masterverse is more intricate, better paint detail, more accessories, all that good stuff. And let's go ahead and bring back the Origins so we can see all three together. And as you can see, they're all very similar, just different variations of the same theme. Now, although I really like the Masterverse version, I prefer the Origins and the cartoon collection because Masterverse, he's just too big. I like that the original Ramman is short and squat, much like Wolverine. And I'm not a big fan of when these characters are somehow now these big, tall characters. As a short, stocky man myself, I take umbrage in that so many of my short kings have been tall-washed. How dare they negate my history, my culture! I can't remember what we're doing. What are we here for? Okay, final thoughts. Overall, I do like this figure quite a bit. Despite the fact that he has somewhat limited articulation in the knees, you can get him into a lot of great poses. And the fact that he has these big old honking feet, he has a lot of stability as well. So you don't have to worry about him toppling over as much as a thinner ankled figure might. The likeness is very much like the Filmation series, and I believe he scales well with your Masters of the Universe classics if you do have them. Otherwise, he's pretty much the same height as your other cartoon collection figures. As far as negatives go, I've already mentioned it multiple times. I'm not a big fan of the idol that he comes with. I would have preferred an axe or a ray gun or something. And I wish that his armor was more of a matte, but I realized that's not really in the price range for a figure like this. I paid $17.99 for this from Amazon, and he's $19.99 at Big Bad Toy Store, but I would always suggest Big Bad Toy Store first because they are a lot more collector friendly. Who knows what you're going to get with Amazon? You might get a nice box, or you might get a toss down the stairs box. Also, you should always support the little guy as much as you can and try to avoid the monopolies whenever possible. I say this as someone with an Amazon subscription, so I'm obviously a hypocrite, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. Sorry folks, that's going to pretty much wrap everything up. I am Rip It Open with Newman on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, Lemon8, Blue Sky. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know, whatever. I'll see you later.